also see a few other icons. I have this little clock icon, which will show me all of my activities, and it will show me in which each app the activities are. So today I see I have a meeting scheduled in my calendar. And I can also see here that that's in 2 hours. That's really neat because it will help me prepare and be sure that I have everything in order before 2 hours from now. So let's go back to our dashboard. And now I'm going to enter an application. I'll go into sales. Now, the first thing I would like to point out here is that in every application, if you go to the top left corner, you will see this little icon. This will send you directly back to your dashboard. And in the same place, when you're on your dashboard, you'll see a little arrow. This will direct you to the last page you were just on. So if you accidentally press this button somehow, or if you just simply need to go back to the last page, this is a super easy shortcut. So I'll click on that, and boom, I'm back in my sales application. Now I would like to select some of my documents. If I go to this top box here, I can select all that are on the page. And when I do that, I have a couple of new fields here. I have the print option, which will simply allow me to print the information. And I also have some actions. Now I can export, I can delete, I can share the information, I can invoice these orders, and I can send a cart recovery email. This last one is important if you have an online shop and you're using e-commerce. Now, if I go to my search bar, I see that I already have this automatic filter, which is my quotations. Now, if I remove this, I will see all quotations rather than just my own. And I can add some other filters as well. So I have some standards here. So I can choose if I just want to see quotations or sales orders. Maybe I would like to see quotations from the last 7 days. I can do that by clicking on this. And perhaps I would also like to group it by salesperson. So here I see that only Mitchell Admin has had some sales orders in the last 7 days. So if I remove this, then I see all of the sales orders that we have. And I can also make some filters my new default, or favorites. And I simply do that by going to favorites, and I can save the current search. I can say that it's my default, I can share it with other users, and I can also select a new title. So I will say everyone for this title, and I will save. In this filters option as well, you can add some custom filters. So perhaps you would like to search by abandoned carts or maybe a specific customer. You can add their name and search those documents there. Now, if you don't see this immediately, then you should go to this little search icon here and click on the plus. If you click minus, then it will go away. But I will keep it there for now. So we also have some other views. Now here we also have the Kanban view, where we can see different stages, and here the stages, the columns, are actually just our salespeople. And this is particularly cool because we can drag and drop the sales orders here. So let's say that I would like that Harry Smith, my salesperson, take over this sales order. We'll simply drag it and drop it under his name, and the information will be changed that Harry will show as the salesperson here. So that's really neat. We have some other views as well. We have the calendar view, which will show us our meetings. We have the pivot view as well, which shows us some of our data. A graph view. We can also change the graphs here. And this last view is our activity view. Now, this is a new view in version 12, and this is really neat because it will show us our activities on our different documents. So here I see I have 2 activities that are scheduled for sales order 10, and it's the only sales order right now that has any activities. And if I would like to, I can edit the information by clicking here, and I can even schedule an activity directly from this view. So it's super convenient, super neat. Now I'm going to go back to my Kanban view. And I'm going to click on one of my sales orders. I will choose this one. Now, something I want to point out here is if I go to edit, I have some fields that are in bold, like invoice address and delivery address that you see here. Now, these are fields that are mandatory to have completed before you can save the document. So, for example, if I delete this, and I click Save, this will show in red and also give me an error saying that the following field is invalid, and then I need to do something here. So in order to make that go away, I'll simply add her information once again. Now click on Save, and everything is the way that it should be. Now, in all of our documents, we also have some smart buttons. And for example, in this case, if I click on my customer, it will send me directly to the customer page. And here I have some of her other information. So for example, I can see her sales if I'm interested, and I can go back to the sales order this way. Or I can also use what we call the breadcrumbs at the top left here. So this keeps a record of all of the steps we've been taking through the application. So I can see I started in quotations, I went to the specific sales order, I went to my contact, then I went to look at her quotations and sales once again, and then I can see every movement from there. So if I go back and click on these once again, it will send me back the way that I came. So let's say that I'm on my contact page, but I don't need to go back to her sales order. I can simply just go back to the quotations page. I can skip this, click on the first one, and I'm back. But we will go back to the sales order so that I can point out one more thing. So we're going to go here to the bottom of the page, and we're going to look at the chatter. Now, the chatter will show the history of the document and will also allow you to send emails to the followers or log notes. So if you click here and send a message, this will send an email to your customer. It may also send notifications or emails to the other followers. If I click on login note, this is just for internal communication. So your customer will not have access. They will not see what you're discussing here. So perhaps I want one of my other salespeople to help me, but I don't want my customer to know. I can tag him on the document. I can say, Harry Smith, help please. And I can log this, and Harry will get a notification that, and only Harry will get the notification that I have sent him a message. Now I can also refer to a channel on this sales order as well by going to hashtag and whatever my channel name is. So I'm going to go to sales. I will log this, and when I click on this, it will send me to discussion, and here I can chat on the channel. Hello, Odoers. Today we're going to use the CRM app. This acronym stands for Customer Relationship Management, and customer relationships are something we want to optimize at Stealthy Wood. As our company grows, it becomes more and more challenging to keep track of what needs to be done and where we're at with each customer. Imagine walking from one desk to another to stay up to date with your team's sales. Well, at Stealthy Wood, we no longer have to do that. From now on, all of our opportunities are neatly organized in our CRM pipeline. As a sales manager, it's best to identify the stages that are required to complete a deal and what actions you need to take at each stage. This way, the sales team knows exactly what to do at each stage of the pipeline and can efficiently pave the way for the next step, continuously moving the customer forward in the pipeline until the deal is won. This great tool also makes it easy and efficient to do weekly reviews by the sales manager with the team itself, allowing everyone to make sure that the pipeline keeps flowing flawlessly. So let's dive in to see how the CRM app helps Stealthy Wood be more efficient. All right, so let's go ahead and jump directly to the CRM application. Once we're here, we're going to see an overview of our own opportunities. And I know that because if I look at the search bar, I'm going to see this filter, My Pipeline. If I remove this, I will see all of the opportunities, which I have the access rights to see. Okay, so what I'm going to do straight away is simply create a new opportunity. So I'm going to click on the Create button. I'm going to create one on the fly. So let's go ahead and call this 200 lamps. Okay, I'm going to choose my customer. So I, again, can create a customer on the fly like I am doing for the opportunity, or I can choose one that already exists. So let's go ahead and select an already existing customer. And I'm going to add the expected revenue. So let's say $2,000. And since this is quite a bit of money, I'm going to make this a high priority. Then I'll click on Add. So if I drag it and drop it and send it back to new, we're going to see that 2,000 is added to the 80,000 that the new column already had. So now it's 82,000 quotation for this opportunity. Okay, so I'm going into the opportunity. You can create a new quotation right here. So let's imagine I went ahead and I did that. So I've given them an offer. I'm going to move this now from the stage qualified to proposition. All right, I can also change the stage right here from within the opportunity. Now, when we're looking at the opportunity, we have some extra bits of information we can add as well. All right, of course, we can change the customer if we would like to, all of their information. Also have company, we can add some notes, and we have some other follow-up information that we can add as well. Okay, so now let's imagine the customer came back to me and they said, wow, this is a really great offer. So great, in fact, that I would like to double my order. Instead of 200 lamps, I actually would like to purchase 400. So while we're in the edit mode, let's go ahead and edit this quickly. Okay, so 400 lamps. Of course, we're going to double the expected revenue and then we can save. But you know, I want people to know, or I want to know for myself, that this is a second proposition that I'm going to be offering them. Okay, maybe I would give them even a larger discount since they're purchasing even more lamps. But in any case, this is a second proposition. So I'm going to make a new column, a new stage just for that. So let's go back to the pipeline. And all we have to do is click on Add a Column. Okay, I'm going to call this a second proposition. Easy enough. Okay, and then we're going to add, and I'm going to drag it and drop it where I would like to position this stage. I will not save the changes. And what I'm going to show you now is probably the best thing for any salesperson. I'm going to show you how you can win the deal by clicking on Mark as One. As simple as that, then you have a beautiful banner that says one. Okay, but let's imagine in the worst case scenario, this was actually lost. We can also mark as lost. And when we do that, we can provide a lost reason. And it's always important to keep track of why we're losing deals so we can prevent it from happening in the future. All right, it's good for your managers, it's good for your salespeople, and just to keep track of what's going on. So let's say that in the end, we didn't have the people or the skills to provide the customer with 400 lamps. So I'll just select this and then click on Submit. Of course, the banner changes from one, it goes to lost, which is a bit upsetting, but it can happen to the best of us. All right, here I am on my database. So let's go ahead and jump directly to our sales application. Once we're looking at our sales dashboard, we're going to go ahead and create a quotation. I can do that by clicking on the Create button right here. If you find yourself somewhere else in the sales application at any point in time, you can always come back to this page by clicking on Orders, Quotations. All right, so let's click on Create. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is add my customer. So, of course, I can add a customer that already exists in my system. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select one. And then Odoo will create a contact in my system with all of the information that it could find for this person. So in this case, I have company address, tax ID, phone number, email, website link. Okay, and I can also modify that right now on the fly if I need to. So for example, if I want to change the email address, I can do that and then click on Save. So it's super fast and easy. Now that I've added the customer, let's go ahead and add a few products. Okay, so my first product will be my customizable desk. Now, right away, I have my product configurator, which is an option that I have activated in the settings of my sales application. Okay, and since this product does have variants, and we'll talk about that more in another video, so be sure you check it out, I can go ahead and select among the variants. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with the classic and then click on Add. Now, I've also added some optional products to my main product template, and it's going to allow me to add that to my cart right now without having to search for the product. So I'm going to go ahead and add my warranty. Okay, and that will be added to the quotation automatically, but I'm actually going to go ahead and show you where you can add those optional products on the product template. So let's pop open our product template here. Okay, and then we're going to go to the Sales tab, scroll down, and under the Options section, we have our optional products. And I can add those here. All right. But now that I went ahead and added the optional product that I wanted, my warranty, let's go ahead and add a couple more products. So the first one will be an office lamp. Okay, I can change the quantity. So let's say 4, unit price will be 30. Okay, I can change it manually just like that. And let's add another product. Let's add our large cabinets. Okay, Now, I can, of course, modify these fields manually as we just saw for the office lamp, but I can also add an equation here as well that Odoo will calculate instantly, which is really cool. So if I put equals 9 times 12, for example, Odoo will calculate that right away. So you don't have to just enter a number. You can also enter an equation and Odoo will take care of it for you, which is a super cool feature. All right, now that I've added all of the products that I would like to, I also want to organize this in another way. I want to make it more beautiful, easier for my customer to digest. So I'm going to add some sections. Okay, so I'm going to click on Add a Section. All right, here I will add furniture, and then I'm going to add a second section as well, lights. Okay, so let's go ahead and drag and drop these sections where we would like. So I'll move furniture to the top. Lights will go above office lamp, and of course I'm going to move the large cabinet to under the furniture section. So that looks really good. Now, not only can we add sections, but we can also add notes where we would like to. For example, I would like to add a note here. Just thanks. I can add that right there on the quotation if I would like to. Of course, I can add other notes as well. I don't just have to say thanks, but I think that's a nice touch. All right, so this looks really good so far. Let's save this. Now, of course, we need to give this quotation to the customer. So I can either print it. Odoo will generate a PDF for me. Just go to print, quotation/order. All right. It will automatically be downloaded, and then I can go ahead and preview that PDF. Okay, I have my sections, I have my note, it looks really good. I can also send it by email. So I will print it if the customer is there with me and I want to physically give them the quotation, or I can click on send by email, which is what I'm going to do. And I will also have the option to edit the email template right away. Okay, so I have, hello, your quotation 65 amounting in this amount is ready for review. And I can say, I can personalize it a bit even if I would like to. Hello, Odoo. Have a great day. So I can modify it or I can leave it the way it is. I have that option. So let's go ahead and click on send. All right, once we send the email, the customer will, of course, receive the quotation, and you're going to be able to preview that PDF right here in the chatter of the document. Okay, so you can see exactly what was sent. I have the message that I wrote as well. Okay, and we can also see what the customer will see when they look at the online preview. All right, we have that customer preview button right here. So let's go ahead and click on that. All right, so this was going to redirect us, and this is exactly what the customer will see. Okay, so they're going to be able to sign and pay. They have all of the information. So of course, if they confirm this quotation, sign and pay, that quotation will move from quote to sales order, but we can also change that manually. So let's click on back to edit mode, where we'll be redirected to the quotation from our end. I can click on confirm. Once it's confirmed, we're going to see a status change from quotation sent to sales order. Once it has moved from quotation to sales order, a delivery order is also automatically generated if the products need to be delivered. Okay, and then from there, we also have the option to create the invoice. We can always send by email again if we need to, and hopefully not, but we have the option to cancel as well. When running a business or an organization, we most definitely have to deal with invoices, either to get paid by our customers or to pay our vendors. A sale can come from many places, like from a quotation, a subscription to a service, or simply when buying something in a shop. Once the deal is confirmed, we need to generate an invoice. This document states that a customer owes the seller a certain amount of money. As both companies use these documents for their accounting, it's important that they are correctly generated. Afterward, it's up to the customer to pay the seller in a specific amount of time. At my company, Stealthy Wood, we sell custom-made office furniture to customers located in different countries. To make it more convenient and easier, we want them to be able to choose how they pay their sales invoices. They can do this either with an online payment system with a customer portal or with a bank transfer. Now let's go ahead and start invoicing our customers. So I'm going to create a new invoice. Okay, and I'm going to add my customer, let's say Fantasio. All right. And Fantasio would like to purchase a storage box of this item. Let's go ahead and save this. Now, once we save the invoice, we can preview it right away. Okay, when we click on preview, we're going to see the preview from the customer's perspective. Okay, so this will be a preview of the customer portal. All right, so as you can see, we have all of the information. Okay, so I have my logo, I have my company information that we were sure that we set correctly, including the VAT or the tax ID. Okay, I have my tagline and also my bank account, which I added to the footer. All right, so we know that our template looks good. Okay, and your customer can download or print from this page. Let's go back to edit mode and validate that invoice, because once we validate, we'll have a few more options. So I'm going to click on validate. Now from the back end, I can go ahead and send and print. I can register a payment. I can add a credit note, which we don't want to do until we register the payment. And I can also preview again. So let's go ahead and do that. Once I click on preview and the invoice is validated, your customers will now have the option to pay online. So that's super convenient. If you send it by email, they will be sent a link that will redirect them to this page. So they will have all of this information. So you can see exactly what the customer will see. All right. And then they can pay now simply by clicking on this button. Now, all of the payment acquirers that you have set up will appear here. And if your customer has already made a payment on another invoice and you have that information saved, they can go ahead and pay with that same credit card information. All right, but let's jump back to the back end. All right. So let's imagine that the customer doesn't want to pay in line, and actually they showed up to your offices and they wanted to pay in cash right then and there. So you can go ahead and register the payment yourself. Okay, we're going to register payment. Let's say cash. Okay, and then we'll validate. All right. Once we register the payment, of course, we do not see the register payment button anymore because there's nothing to register. It's already been done. We can go down here, look at the total, and we see that it was paid on March 22nd. We can even see the payment method, which is cash. Now, if your customer does pay online with one of your payment acquirers, the specific payment acquirer will be shown here. So it will say PayPal, Stripe, or any others that you might have configured. All right. So something else we can do either before or after you register the payment, it's up to you and the kind of information you would like to share with your customers. We can send and print. Now, once you click on this button, send and print, you, of course, have the option to email and print, but you also have the option to send by post. Now, this is an option that's done with in-app purchases, so you can go ahead and purchase some credit from your configuration settings. Okay. But I'm going to cancel this for now. And actually, let's say that there was a mistake here. The customer ordered the wrong item. So they need a refund for the storage boxes that they just purchased. So what we're going to do is create a credit note. Okay, so I'm going to add that credit note now. All right, and what I'm going to do is create a draft credit note. I'm going to say wrong items purchased. All right, let's go ahead, add the credit note. Okay, we see the draft credit note right here. So we can go ahead and check this and be sure that it's correct with all of the right information. And then we can validate. Okay, and as you can see, we also have the preview button here as well. And then we're going to register the payment because, of course, we do need to reimburse the customer for the we do need to refund the customer, I'll say. Then we can validate this as well. And we'll also have that payment linked to the credit note, and it's fully reconciled. All right, so now we've seen how we can invoice our customers through the invoicing application, but you can also create an invoice automatically from a sales order. So if we go to our sales application, and we're going to first start with a quotation. Let's choose the same customer. Okay, so we have Fantasio Motors. And this time he doesn't want to buy the storage box. He wants to buy our product Zebra and 10 of these. All right, let's go ahead and confirm the sales order. And depending on your settings, you may need to deliver before you're able to invoice the customer. So let's go ahead and click on Create Invoice. If I do have that option selected, once I try to create and view invoices, it will say there are no invoiceable lines, and that's because you do need to deliver. So I'm going to click on Create and View Invoices. But in my case, I don't have that option. I do have the possibility to invoice before delivering to the customer. So here I am looking at the invoice. Okay, so as you can see, it was super simple. I just did that from the sales order itself. Okay, so I didn't have to go back to the invoicing application. I did everything from here, and I can even validate the invoice from here as well. And then it's done. Then you can complete the rest of the flow. So there are multiple ways to create invoices, and the process is quite easy and seamless. And as you can see, invoicing is integrated with all of our other apps as well. All right, here I am on my database. So let's go ahead and see how we can create a purchase order from the Purchase app. So we're going to go straight to Purchase. And here we're going to see right away all of our requests for quotations, also known as RFQs, and purchase orders, also known as POs. So let's create a new one simply by clicking on the Create button right here. All right, so when we create a new request for quotation, the first thing we're going to want to do is add our vendor. Okay, we need to decide who we want to purchase some products from. So I'm going to choose my vendor, Azure Interior. Okay, and then after we've added the vendor, we also need to decide what products we want to buy from them. And I'm going to specify those right down below under the product section. So let's go ahead and add a product. In this case, I'm going to choose my pedal bin. Now, by default, the quantity that we purchase will be 1, and we're going to modify this. I'm going to say 20. I do want to purchase more than just one of this item, and I'm also going to change the unit price as well. So maybe I've seen their catalog. I know how much this item costs, so I'm going to put 15. Okay, so this looks good so far. Of course, we can modify the other things in this line as well, such as the taxes, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so once we have created our basic request for quotation, we will save it, and then we can either print it or we can send it by email to the vendor, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to click on Send by Email. Okay, I will have my email template pop up, which I can modify right away, or I can just go ahead and send it the way that it is. I think this looks pretty good, so I'm going to click on Send. Okay, once I click on Send, I'm going to see a status change from RFQ to RFQ sent. And in the chatter of the document, I'm going to see the body of the email as well as the RFQ PDF attachment. All right, so I'll be able to check that out as well. Okay, so let's say we sent it to the vendor, they agreed to sell us these items. The next logical step is to confirm the request for quotation, and Odoo will suggest that. So let's click on Confirm Order. All right, once we click on Confirm Order, we're going to see a status change again from RFQ sent to Purchase Order. And then a receipt will be created, which we see in the corner right here. But we're going to be able to receive the products simply by clicking on the button Receive Products. So let's click here. All right, we're going to be redirected to the receipt, which we can validate. So of course we can click on Edit and change the done quantity. We asked for 20 items, and we can see how many items we actually received. So I can put 20 here. If I don't add anything and I click on Validate, Odoo will automatically apply the demand quantity as the done quantity. So let's do that. Let's click on Apply. All right, and we see the status change from ready to done at the top as well. So you can always keep track of the status by looking at the status bar here. All right, and then when we go back to the purchase order, we will then be able to create a bill. We need to pay our vendors. Okay, so let's click on Create Bill. Now, when I do that, I'm going to see that the quantity has reflected what we actually, the quantity reflects what we actually received. Okay, so even though I ordered 20, I received 15, and I will only have to pay for 15. So Odoo recognizes that, which is really nice. So let's post this, and then we'll register the payment, validate. Okay, we see that it's marked as paid. We'll go back to the purchase order, and we do have the full history of events here. I see that I ordered 20, I received 15, and I was billed for 15. Okay, so I have all of that right here. And on the receipt, I'm going to see that we had a demand for 15 were done, but we also asked for 5 in addition. So originally we asked for 20, but 5 were not done. Okay, so we can see everything that's going on here as well. All right, so that's the basics of the purchase application. All right, here I am on my database. Now, since Stealthy Wood's inventory management is vital to our company, I'm gonna need to understand all of its particularities. So that's why I'm gonna start with some basic inventory operations such as receipts and deliveries. Now, let's jump to the inventory application. I'm gonna see right away an overview of all of the operations that we have waiting for us in our warehouse. So I see that I have 2 delivery orders to process and 3 receipts to process. But to fully understand the whole flow, I'm going to start by creating a sales order. So let's go to the sales application. I'm going to create a new quotation. Let me choose my customer, Adrian, and then I'm going to add the product. So I'm going to choose my product, Stealthy Wood mug. Now, yes, we do make mugs now. I think it's a really great product to have for brand awareness. Okay, and Adrian would like to purchase 3 mugs. Now, right away, you may notice that we have a little I next to the quantity, and in fact, it's red. If I click on this, first of all, I'm going to be able to see what we have available. So the forecasted stock and what's actually available. So all planned operations included. All right, and it's red right now because, as you'll see, I don't have any mugs on hand. Okay, so I'm creating the sales order, but it's going to give me a little warning saying, hey, he's ordering 3, but you don't actually have 3 to sell. But that's all right. Let's go ahead and confirm this. And once we click on confirm and save, of course, a delivery order is going to be generated. So let's click on the delivery order, and I'm going to try to check the availability. Of course, no items will be reserved because we don't have any in our warehouse or any on hand. And if I try to validate, it's going to say, hey, you can't do that because there are no reserved quantities. So, okay, that's no problem. Let's go ahead and purchase this mug. So I'm going to jump over to the purchase application and create a new RFQ. So let's choose our vendor, Wood Corner. Okay. Yes, they sell mostly wood products, but they also customize mugs as well. And then we're going to add the product, our Stealthy Wood mug. I will purchase 5 of this item. I'm going to change the unit price as well. All right, and then I'm going to save this and confirm the order. And that will also allow me to receive the products right after I've confirmed the purchase order. And yes, we can manage the receipt from the purchase application because Odoo apps are all integrated, but let's check it out from the inventory app. So I'm going to go back to my main dashboard, inventory. Now I see I have 4 receipts to process, so let's go ahead and click on this and process the receipt that we have for those mugs. Okay, so Stealthy Wood mug, I've ordered 5. We're going to validate this. Okay, I haven't recorded any done quantities, so the reserved quantities, or in this case, the quantity that we have under the demand section, will apply. If I want to change that amount, I can always go to edit and change it here. But I did receive all 5 items, so let's go ahead and save and validate. Now it's done and we've received the mugs. We have them now on hand, so then we can process the delivery order. So we're going to go back to our inventory overview, and I'm going to go to my delivery orders. It should still be in the waiting stage because it's waiting to be reserved. So I'm going to click on waiting. Okay, then I have Adrian L here, the 3 mugs. Now we're going to click on check availability. They're automatically reserved. The 3, we have them available, and then we can validate this delivery. And it's done. We send it to Adrian and he's ready to accept those mugs. As we saw in the accounting overview, nothing is lost, nothing is created, everything is transformed. So when I issue an invoice of $1,000, my account receivable is debited $1,000. This means that I'm entitled to receive this amount, therefore the balance of this account is positive. Now let's say that my client just paid me on my bank account. That means that $1,000 were debited on my account. The account receivable is at the same time credited of $1,000, and its balance is brought to 0 since my client is not in my debt anymore. And now my bank account has a positive balance. Great. And a special thanks to my client who paid very quickly. So let's see what this looks like in my Odoo accounting app. All right, so here I am on my database for my company, Stealthy Wood Inc. Now let's go ahead and dive into the accounting application. Now we're going to go ahead and check out our chart of accounts. Let's go ahead and review. All right, so I'm going to click on the review button, and then I can group by from here. So let's go to account type, for example, and I'm going to see all of my account types. So all of the accounts are already defined according to your company's country. Okay, at the creation of our DB, I selected that my company was located in the US. So Odoo automatically installed the appropriate fiscal localization package so that the right accounts, reports, and taxes are ready to go. Okay, so that looks good. If I want to reach this page another way, so first of all, let's go back to the overview. All right, it's going to say that my chart of accounts are all set. If I want to go to my chart of accounts another way, I will go to configuration, chart of accounts right here. Okay, if you want to create a new account, it's a good practice to duplicate one that already exists that's closest to the new one you're creating so the configuration is correct. This way, all legal reports will be correctly generated. All right. Let's go back to our overview. Okay, so from here we can go ahead and remove these shortcuts. So I'm going to close this. Okay, yes, I do want to remove the configuration panel. Okay, and then we're going to see our journals and some other information right here on our dashboard. Okay, and if we want to go to some other shortcuts, we simply have to click on these three little dots that you'll see in the corner of all of these sections. Okay, and then you'll have some other options as well. All right, and this will automatically have the filter favorites. However, you can remove this to have more information on your dashboard right here. Now, let's go ahead and create a new invoice. All right, we can do this from going to customers, invoices, and creating a new one, or we can create a new one right here from the dashboard. So let's go ahead and click on new invoice. I'm going to choose my customer, Azure Interior. Azure Interior is going to purchase a large cabinet. Now, something I want to point out quickly here is that since we are starting to use the accounting application, we have this new column here, account. Okay, we didn't have this when we were just using the invoicing application. So let's go ahead and validate. All right, and then we're going to register a payment and validate again. Looks good. Now when we scroll down to the bottom, we're going to see that this invoice has been paid for. And if we click on the little I, we can have more information about the payment. So we see that this payment and this invoice have been reconciled together. Okay, if we need to unreconcile, we simply need to click the unreconcile button, or we can also view. All right, from the invoice still, let's go to the other info tab. All right, from here, of course, we have some other info. All right, so we have the journal that this is related to. Of course, it's customer invoices. We even have the account. Okay, and we're also going to see the journal entry that was automatically generated as well for this invoice. So let's go ahead and check that out right now by simply clicking on it. All right, so here I have a journal entry. Okay, so this is composed of at least 2 journal items. So the first line here is a debit in the account receivable, as we see here. So this is what my client owes me. And the second line is the amount of taxes, and the third is for the product sales. Both of these are credited, which we see here. So at the bottom, we're going to see that the debit and the credit are balanced, which is very important, of course. So just to be sure that we're not missing any information, I'm just going to move my face, and you'll see that behind my face is simply the due dates. All right, so we're not missing any extremely important information there. All right, and the most important thing, of course, is that everything is balanced. Okay, we can even go to the reconciled entries right here. But for now, we're going to go to customers and then payments and select the last one, which is the payment that we just created for the invoice. Okay, and then from here, we can access our journal items and also our invoices. Let's go straight to our journal items. All right, so here we see that our client paid us $368. This amount is debited on the bank account, all right, which we see here, whereas it's credited on the account receivable. Okay, so our client doesn't owe us that amount anymore, which is great. Again, we have a balance between our debit and our credit. All right, now to see all of our journal entries, we simply have to go to accounting and journal entries here. All right, this is where you can create journal entries manually if you need to. So by default, the filter will be miscellaneous operations. And this is defined since all other entries are generated automatically by Odoo. Okay, so when we create a new one, we're going to see that miscellaneous operations right here. And that's all for the basic.